So whether you wanted to travel to bigger cities like Atlanta, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Minneapolis, New York, and whether you're going to Europe or Asia, you can get places in one connection from little old Reno, Nevada. If everything gets completed according to what their plans are, it would literally be $1 billion invested. The Reno-Tahoe International Airport. So for those of you that watch this channel on a regular basis, you realize we're talking about living in, moving to, and visiting Reno, Lake Tahoe, and all things Northern Nevada. And one of the biggest things that come up and one of the biggest questions people ask me about is the airport and whether people are moving here because they want to live near the airport or travel from the airport. Where does it fly to? Where does it go? I get questions about this all the time. And if you ever go to renoairport.com, they have an amazing website, tells you all kinds of great information about all things going on at the Reno-Tahoe Airport. But today I want to talk about three particular topics, and one is the overall economic impact of the airport, which is very important to our community here. The second one is there's a huge expansion project going on at the airport. It's been going on for a while. It's going to continue to go on for a while, and it's just going to make the airport amazing. And then the third thing we want to talk about, again, is I think sometimes people are still confused as to where actually Reno, Nevada is. And I want to talk about a lot of the places that we can get to and fly to in and out of here that are direct. And we're basically one connecting flight away from being almost anywhere in the United States or internationally, a lot of places as well. So let's talk about item number one, which is the economic impact of the Reno-Tahoe Airport Authority. They do a study every year talking about the economic impact of the airport. And we had an article, it was written at the end of January, so it was talking about all about 2023. And the economic impact of the airport was literally $3.6 billion for our community. And what's crazy is if you look back just 10 years ago, that number was only 1.6 billion. So as our community has grown, as our airport has grown, as the number of flights coming in and out of the area has grown, the impact that it has, whether it is jobs, people working directly for the airport, the numbers I had was about 6,500 people working directly for the airport, and whether it's cargo planes or salespeople that want to be on airplanes going back and forth, the growth of the airport has been tremendous. One of the other funny stats that I thought about is the normal airplane that flies in here are 737s. That's kind of the big plane that flies in and out. And every time they can get another 737 flight to come in and out of Reno, it's almost another $130,000 of impact on our economy. So you can see having an airport is important. Having an airport that is safe and functional and easy to get in and out of is critical to a community that's growing and thriving. I don't know about you, I travel quite a bit, and I see this whether I was in Phoenix recently or Salt Lake City. A lot of these airports are under nonstop construction, so it's very important to our community that the impact of the economy and just everything about this airport continues to grow. So there's one other fun fact I found out as I was doing research for this particular video, and it was about tourism. And what's funny is when I first moved to Reno, and you guys all know the story 30 plus years ago, most of the tourism that came to Reno was for gambling downtown, and people would drive here from Northern California. And actually in 2023, it was the first year ever that over 50% of the people coming in and out for tourism reasons into our area were through the airport and through flights. So it just shows you how much our community has changed. Because I remember when I first moved here, it would seem like the airport was tiny and everybody would drive from Northern California, and that was the only people that we had visiting here. So with all that being said, let's go into item number two, which is the expansion project at the airport. And if you've been to the airport in the last year and a half, they're doing all kinds of construction and all kinds of work at the airport. But again, if you go to the website, and it'll give you all the details and all the information you need to know about this overall expansion project at the airport. If everything gets completed according to what their plans are, it would literally be $1 billion invested into the airport and to the growth of making it just a much more amazing, better airport. So also the funding is coming not from taxpayer money. It's coming from federal places, from grants. They're raising money in all different sorts of ways to be able to fund fixing the airport, and I say fixing, but upgrading the airport as they go. And there's no local or state tax revenue that's being done with this. So any profits or any money that the airport's able to generate for themselves, they're literally taking those profits and reinvesting them right back into the airport. So again, if you go to the website, it'll tell you about all the details, but we're going to talk about quickly. There's 4 different things at the airport that they're really trying to expand and grow. The first one is the ticketing hall expansion. So if you drive up to our airport, there's a big loop that runs around it, and there's 3 lanes on the outside and 3 lanes on the inside. And normally those lanes are open, but right now they're closed. And that's where you would drop everybody off, where you have your luggage, getting your tickets, dropping off your suitcases so they can get on the airplanes. And that whole area right now, there's a lot of boarded off sections. You can't even drive in those areas. And what they're trying to do is when you used to walk in there, it was all the ticketing stuff to the right, and there was a bunch of offices on that left-hand side. And they've torn all those offices out, and they're going to expand it. The number said was 113% more space. That whole wall is going to be all windows, so they're trying to make it more environmentally nice. They're trying to bring in some more sunlight, and they're giving you way more space so that when they can put in some more advanced technology and be able to do your ticketing, where you can just go up to the kiosk and get your tickets and your baggage claim things, so you can give them all the luggage. There's another thing where they're trying to put in more power cords and power strips and charging stations and additional bathrooms. So that whole initial entry when you're getting ready to fly out of our area is going to be completely upgraded and updated. And right now, it's all boarded off and it's a little tight and narrow in there. But considering everything they have going on, it's still not too bad trying to get in and out of the airport. The second item they're working on is the road improvements. So again, depending on whether you're coming from North or South Reno and you're driving into the airport, there's a loop. It just loops around the airport. It loops around all the parking garages. And typically there's the 3 outside lanes, which is the pickup lanes, and the 3 inside lanes, which are the drop-off lanes. And right now there's only 3 lanes total, so it's a little crowded. But again, what they're trying to do is make it safer, make it more ADA compliant, make the traffic flow a little bit better, and not lose any of those 6 lanes. So in the short term, it's a little hectic, it's a little crowded on occasion, but still many times it's not too bad. I can't imagine what it's going to be when we get 3 of those 6 lanes back. The third section is ground transportation. So currently, if you walk out, there's parking garages out in the middle. Underneath the bottom of the parking garage, there are the car rental places. And if you go through where baggage claim is and you go out that direction, that's where the Ubers and the taxi cabs are. And from the renderings and the pictures I've seen on their website, in that general area, they're going to create all of that in one place. So whether you're trying to get on a bus, a taxi, a rental car, whatever it is, there's going to be a whole grand transportation center. So one, it will add more parking spots to the parking garage. And they're also supposed to be adding an additional 700 parking spots. In the past, there's times where literally the garages at the airports were full. You couldn't park there. So you had to get someone to take you and drop you off or get a ride. And so I think this expansion of all the parking garages and that will be much better with moving the ground transportation and having all this additional parking. It's just going to be another great added feature that you see that the airport adds in. The fourth item is the concourses. So once you come through TSA and you go up the escalators and you go left to the C gates and right to the B gates, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff up there, whether it's more bathrooms, again, more charging stations, more restaurants. So they're doing a lot of upgrades. You can get the specifics on what types of food and what types of vendors they're putting in the airport. They're also trying to make it so that customer experience as you come through TSA, the employees for the airlines, the employees that work directly for the airport, that it's a better experience for all of these people. And I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes hallways and offices and tunnels that the general public doesn't get to see that I know they're working on diligently to improve just the entire environment of the airport. And I just think those concourses, what they're also doing is down on the ends, is they're trying to make some bigger, more effective gates so that a bigger airplane can come into Reno. It's very rare that you see anything bigger than a 737. And I don't know how big or how large they're hoping to get airplanes to come in there. But if they do, then I think it's going to be ideal as far as being able to get flights to some of these larger cities that they just need to have a few flights and bigger planes to be able to do. But for now, they're working on that as well. I don't know how long that's going to take to get there, but it's definitely going to be a great improvement. And hopefully it's going to allow for more planes to be able to come in and out and also be able to then have cities that maybe weren't available to us because we didn't have a big enough airplane to become on the list of nonstop destinations that we go to. And section number 3, again, is letting people know where Reno and our airport is. So again, for those people that still get confused that we're close to Las Vegas, we're not. It's 400 to 450 miles away. The airport is in the southeast kind of center part of town, actually. And so when I get people who are moving to Reno and they say, hey, for my job, I travel out, I need to be near the airport. The nice part is where the airport's located, you can't really get too far away from the airport because whether you're in the far areas of Sparks, or you're in Northwest Reno or South Reno, usually 15 or 20 minutes is about as far as you're going to be able to drive to get to the airport. So it's very convenient. The only downside is long-term is it's somewhat landlocked. So if eventually the airport gets to the point where they want to add a runway or add more gates, they're going to have some limitations. I do know there's a section of the airport now where the cargo planes flying out of, whether it's UPS or FedEx. And I've heard stories about someday maybe them moving that out to the Stead Airport. The Stead Airport's where they used to do the Reno air races. And eventually if they can move the cargo planes out there, it would allow them for more space to eventually maybe have a third set of gates and maybe a longer runway or more places for more planes to be when they're not actually in the air. So it should be interesting to see how that part plays out. But I don't think people realize our airport has gotten quite busy. From the stats I pulled up on their website, we literally have about 130-ish departures and arrivals that happen every day. We have 11 different airlines currently that are flying in and out of Reno, and there's literally 20 nonstop destinations, and now we're going to actually get a few more, but some of them are seasonal. So if you're the typical person that wants to fly around the West Coast and you're going to either Seattle or Portland or Salt Lake or Phoenix or Vegas, the Bay Area, LA, those are all direct flights that we've had for years. There's a few other places that they've added on over the years that are things like San Jose. Believe it or not, we actually have a direct flight to Guadalajara. I had no idea that was even a direct flight. But now they're starting to add flights that are more seasonally based. So they're not going to be year-round. They're not always on every day. So whether you wanted to travel to bigger cities like Atlanta, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Minneapolis, New York, these are all coming. If you look on their website, it tells you the exact dates that they're actually flying and running. They're not currently year-round, but at least for now, a lot of those locations allow you to go direct to those cities. And whether you're going to Europe or Asia, you can get places in one connection from little old Reno, Nevada, which is an amazing thing. So as our community continues to grow and as the airport continues to grow, they're doing all kinds of cool things, whether it's local artists, whether it's just trying to make the aesthetics of the airport more pleasing. It's just one of those necessary evils. It was just like the whole Spaghetti Bowl road project where when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of a bummer. But eventually, when it's all done and finished, the airport's going to be a much more amazing place to go. So with that being said, you can always go to renoairport.com, check out all the information there. By all means, comment or send me information below. We're happy to get you information about the airport. And again, as always, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out there, by all means, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, give us whatever questions you might have, and we'll be happy to get you answers to whatever we can. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on another video very soon. Thanks again.